In margin call, Peter Sullivan figures out that all the MBS his firm was holding were going to be worthless very soon. He figures that out around 10 p.m. on Thursday night. From that moment until Friday at 5 p.m. when the market closes, in those 20 hours, everything in the movie unfolds. When Peter finds the problem at 10 p.m., he alerts his boss. By 2 a.m., they're sitting in front of Jared Cohen, discussing what must be done. An hour later, they're in front of John Tuld, the CEO. Jared proposes a fire sale, and Tuld approves. By morning, the traders are briefed, and the plan is in motion. The goal is clear: sell everything before anyone else figures it out. They have to do it before any other firm on Wall Street figures out that their own MBS are also worthless, because during the first meeting with Jared Cohen, Ramesh says, as other firms are also holding similar MBS products, it won't be long before some other firm starts putting these numbers together and they see the exact same thing we're looking at here right now.
It's only a matter of time before someone else starts putting these in and they come up with exactly the same results and look at exactly what we are looking at right now if they haven't already.
So this makes Jared's decision and plan of action to sell it all immediately very clear. During the second meeting, Sam Rogers gives a warning. He says, by 2 o'clock, you'll be selling MBS at 65 cents on the dollar if you are lucky. And then the Fed will be up your ass trying to slow you down.
And by 2 o'clock, you're going to be selling at 65 cents on the dollar if you're lucky. And then the Feds are going to be in here up your ass trying to slow you down.
John Tuld turns to Ramesh and asks what the Fed can do. Ramesh calmly replies, they can slow you down, but they can't stop you.
Ramesh.
They can slow you down. They can't stop you. Yours to sell.
This might make you think, why couldn't the Federal Reserve, one of the most powerful institutions in the world, stop Tuld's fire sale? Also, what chaos did Tuld's fire sale cause on the market? And what if, instead of Friday, Tuld would have waited over the weekend and executed the plan on Monday? Answers to all these questions you will get by the end of this video. Now, to understand why the Fed couldn't stop the fire sale, first it's important to know how free markets function under normal conditions. The financial markets in the US operate on speed and trust. If a firm says it holds $100 million worth of AAA-rated mortgage-backed securities, other firms take that at face value. There's no time to verify every asset in real time. The assumption is that the rating agencies did their job, and the firm is being honest. Trust here is kind of an invisible currency. This trust also extends beyond just asset values. These banks also lend money to each other freely, usually overnight, based on the assumption that the borrower will repay in the morning. These loans can be in the hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars, and they're made without hesitation, as long as a firm's reputation is intact and it has access to liquidity. Many firms also post securities like MBS as collateral to get loans. These securities were accepted at nearly full value because no one expected them to default. So everything works smoothly because everyone believes the system is stable. But when Peter Sullivan discovers that their MBS holdings will eventually be worthless, it gives his firm a huge advantage. They are the first to know, and that means they have a chance to act before anyone else. John Tuld finalizes a ruthless decision to dump the assets before the market realizes the truth. It's a calculated fire sale to sell everything fast, quietly, and before the panic sets in. The goal is to get out before the prices collapse. The entire strategy is built on one thing: speed. They are using the market's trust and momentum against the market itself. Now, what exactly can the Fed do in that situation? The Federal Reserve isn't a law enforcement agency. It can't just barge into a firm and stop it from selling. At most, it can investigate suspicious market behavior, apply pressure, or coordinate with other regulators like the SEC. When Sam says, the Fed will be up your ass, what he means is that after the sale begins, by midday, someone, either a counterparty, broker, rival firm, or market observer, will alert the Fed, and then the Fed will investigate this abnormal market activity. However, none of this happens instantly. By the time someone alerts the Fed, the fire sale's already more than 50% finished. The Fed will try to talk to seniors at Tuld's firm and ask them questions like, why are you dumping AAA-rated MBS in such huge quantity at a discount? Are you solvent? Is there any big issue we are not aware of? The Fed can then try to slow things down through warnings by informing counterparties to avoid MBS trades. But all of this takes time, and Tuld's firm is moving too fast. They're planning to complete the dump before lunchtime. That's why Ramesh is right when he says the Fed can slow them down but cannot stop them. There's another reason the Fed can't intervene directly. What Tuld is doing is ethically questionable, but it is not illegal. The firm is selling its own assets. It's not misrepresenting them or committing fraud. The assets still have some value, even if that value is collapsing. But in that situation and on that day, buyers are thinking those MBS have value. That's why when Sam says that you're selling something which has no value, to this, Tuld replies, "We're selling it to willing buyers at the current fair market price."
And you're selling something that you know has no value.
We are selling to willing buyers at the current fair market price so that we may survive.
In a free market, you are allowed to sell what you own even if you know it's going to be worth less tomorrow. But buyers in the current moment think it is valuable and are ready to pay the market price. If buyers are willing to pay, then the Fed can't stop a private firm from selling its inventory, even if the sale could destabilize the market. Fed cannot figure out everything when everything is happening and moving fast in real time. Also, the MBS were not sold on the public exchanges. They were bought and sold off exchanges directly between counterparties. So the Fed wouldn't know unless someone informs them. What happens after the fire sale is where the real damage begins. As Tuld's firm dumps $1.2 trillion worth of mortgage-backed securities into the market at deep discounts on Friday. The next trading session is on Monday, and over the weekend, other firms start to panic. They think, why were these AAA-rated MBS sold so cheaply? Are they worthless? Tuld's firm had sold their worthless MBS to many other firms on Wall Street. If one firm is offloading them in a hurry, maybe others are hiding the same problem. So no one knows who is holding similar toxic assets. And suddenly, the invisible currency of trust disappears from the market. Banks that were lending freely just days ago stop lending to each other. They don't know who to trust. They don't want to risk being the next victim. This was the real problem when the 2008 crisis began. People on Wall Street didn't know who to trust and who was going to collapse next. MBS's collateral that was accepted just a few days earlier is now questioned. If you try to use mortgage-backed securities to secure a loan, the lender may refuse, knowing that MBS had been sold at a deep discount in a fire sale. That forces firms to sell other assets to raise cash, creating more selling pressure and more fear. The liquidity dries up and the market freezes. There are no buyers, only sellers. The system, which relies on speed and trust, comes to a halt. This is what makes fire sales so dangerous. They don't just cause losses for one firm, they destroy confidence across the entire financial system. Once the market realizes that someone has offloaded toxic assets, everyone becomes suspect. Everyone is trying to survive, and no one wants to be left holding that biggest bag of odorous excrement. When Monday arrives, the panic wouldn't just be confined to MBS. It would have spread to other asset classes, creating a far more widespread and dangerous crisis. Tuld's firm essentially started a fire on Friday, and the weekend ensures the explosion would be felt by everyone on Monday. So when in the meeting Tuld says, "Be first," he knew exactly what was coming after the fire sale. He also knew that he would face some backlash for the fire sale. That's why, after meeting, Tuld says to Sam, "This is not the last situation I have to deal with this week. This is just a start."
This isn't the last situation I'm going to have to deal with this week. This is just the start.
Now, what if Tuld would have waited till Monday to execute his plan? If Tuld's firm had waited until Monday, their plan would almost certainly have failed, and they would have collapsed. The problem was not unique to Tuld's firm. As Ramesh says in the movie, other firms were holding similar assets and were likely running similar models. The weekend would have given someone else enough time to connect the dots. Even if other firms couldn't connect the dots, someone from Tuld's firm might leak the information over the weekend, and the whole agenda behind the fire sale would fail. Tuld didn't want to take that risk and wasn't ready to keep loose ends. That's why he makes Eric Dale sit in the firm's office until he finishes the fire sale. The entire fire sale strategy relied on being the first firm to offload its assets. By waiting until Monday, with a high probability of leaking information, most probably they would have lost this crucial first mover advantage. Other firms might have started their own fire sales. So, the weekend for Tuld was a period of intense financial and informational risk. By acting on Friday, Tuld exploited a small window of opportunity to transfer his risk to others. Waiting for Monday most probably would have been a death sentence for his firm. But while the Tuld's firm survived, many others didn't. And yet, the traders who pulled off this fire sale made millions in the process. If you want to know how much money traders made in that fire sale, then you should watch this video.